Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today it's going to be story time. And this story time is going to be how I got prescribed with glasses and the steps I went from doctors to doctors to get prescribed because it was a long road, okay? So this whole thing started about March of 2026. So it was a few months ago, about 3 months ago. And at that point, I was studying and I started feeling like I was going to pass out at any moment. So, mind you, I had never been diagnosed before, I had never had any bad eyesight. But at that moment, I started feeling like I was getting, I won't say nauseous, but I would say I was feeling like I was gonna fail at any moment, really low energy, and straight up the fact that I couldn't see. I suddenly had like a really blurry eyesight. So at that point I was a little confused and a little scared about what was happening. So I remember I started laying down more. I wasn't really going to uni because I couldn't go, right? And something was telling me, is this physical or is this psychological? I just couldn't understand what was going on with me. So at that point I tried to eat things which will make me better, things that were more salty than sugary, things that would generally will make me feel a little better, and sodas as well, because they can give you like this permanent boost of energy. But it was still wouldn't go away, and I was a little confused about what was happening to me, to be fair. I thought it was stress, like very much at first I thought it was stress. I thought that anything that was happening was because I was so stressed about school, about the fact that it was a second trimester. Then these things were happening, and they were obviously happening at a really bad time because I had a lot of things to do. So at that moment I told my mom at some point, because it was getting to the point that it was so bad that I was generally you know I had some point I had gone to university and I felt like I was just sick out of my mind. So my mom was like, okay, come home. And so I did. First of all, that journey, because I had to go from one country to the other, was a blur to me. I do remember some things that I did, but I'm telling you, because I was in this sick mode, which I was not actually sick, I was just feeling like I was. I genuinely, that whole trip was just a dream to me. And I don't know how I did it, but I did it. Come home, we start seeing doctors, and we start seeing this neurologist. Let's talk about that neurologist. So this neurologist was actually recommended by a family friend that we have, who is also a neurologist, but at that point he wasn't available. So we went to this guy. The guy started listening to me and he was like, okay, we're gonna do an MRI, we're gonna do a bunch of tests just to see if it's not something neurological. And now we were like, cool, okay. So I did a MRI with substance, which I hated. First of all, I don't like MRIs to begin with. It's really loud and boop boop. Do we like this? No, we don't. Second of all, the substance, I don't like needles to begin with. So in that area, putting it, no. Also, maybe I shouldn't complain about it, but I kind of felt is that there were students there that were watching the entire thing happen, and I would have wished for them to ask me before it, are you fine with these two medical students watching you, instead of just putting them just to look at how they were making the entirety of the needle stay there, watching the entirety of the 15 to 20 minutes of me doing an MRI, and then them just straight up, let me tell you, instead of taking the needle out of my vein really slowly, that student smacked it, she gently yanked it out. Who does this? Even I, who's not a medical student, will know not to generally yank it out of a vein. So that was I was like, what are you doing? I would have wished for them to ask me, but they didn't. I was glad that it was gone. Then I did another neurological test which was more about vision, and honestly it was really hard for me to watch, but everything came out normal. But at that moment I saw the neurologist for a second time and everything was normal. You know what he asked me? He asked me to see a psychologist and a psychiatrist. Yo, wait. First of all, I had already told him I was seeing a psychologist, and it was as if he had completely forgotten in his mind, or maybe he didn't freaking write it, that I was already seeing someone. And then he tells me, oh, maybe you should see a psychologist and maybe potentially a psychiatrist. Who? I'm sorry, but you cannot just straight up send someone to psychiatry just because the MRI and the visual test were normal. Who does this? Do you imagine the number of people he has sent to psychiatry and they have gone because the doctor said it? And they actually are not supposed to be in there. Like, do you understand how far and how wrong it was? Like, honestly, I was looking at him like this. I mean, honestly, I was looking at him a little bit blurry because I was having all those symptoms. But at the same time, you know, like, I was thinking in the back of my mind, like, what is he talking about? I remember I left and I said, I am never going to see this man again. I am not that easily manipulated. There is no way I'm going to go to psychiatry. I talked to my therapist about it and she was like, what? No, literally, she was telling me, like, psychiatry? No. I've been saying you for long enough to know that you don't need to go to psychiatry. And I was like, I know. Like, that man was crazy. And, you know, like, me and my mom were thinking about how many people has he sent to the wrong department just because of his own incompetency. A lot of them, I suppose. So at that moment, we were like, we're forgetting about neurology, or maybe like this doctor was full of shit. No offense for the word, but. And then at that point, we went to in French, we call it ORL. ORL means that he's looking at the nose, the throat, and the mouth, like the tongue. At that point, some of the symptoms I had were shown. So like one symptom, and it meant that I couldn't sleep at night, and it was because I had a sinuses, like just right there, but no other types. So it was like a bunch of combination of stuff that were coming together, and one of them was the fact that I couldn't sleep because of that. But the main issues, that was not it, right? That was not it. They were like, this is not where you have to look for it. Maybe you should see an eye doctor. And that's how we were like, oh, we didn't think of that. Because we had all these neurological symptoms that just going to the most easiest one did not feel like it was the thing that we were supposed to do. But it actually was. Because I went there to the eye doctor and we said that we've been to a neurologist, that we went there and everything was normal. So they were like, do you know, that doctor took me seriously. And she was like, okay, we're gonna see. And so she put like drops in my eyes, which made me have blurry vision for 24 hours. I don't think I have ever been this helpless in my life. Like, the moment my vision was taken from me, it felt like a nightmare. Even if it was just for 24 hours. It was a really unpleasant, you know, experience. But she did it just to see clearly if I needed glasses or not. And she saw that I have hypermetropia and astigmatism. Like, she just diagnosed me straight away. She was like, girl, yes, you know? Which was funny because I've been to the eye doctor back in 2021. I have been way before. And at that moment, I remember them telling me, you have astigmatism, but it's not strong enough for you to put glasses on, and your left eye is completely fine. And now, back in 2026, I have hypermetropia and obviously the astigmatism, which obviously makes me to absolutely need freaking glasses. And so at that moment, I went, like, she had like diagnosed me and she had given me like 150 for the left eye and 250 for the right eye. We went to an optician, and at that point they had made the glasses, and I put them on and I was like, I can't see. So they had to redo the exam. It turns out I have like 0.75 and here I have 150. And even so, I cannot see 100% well. So like, it has made my vision better. So like, my eyes are not that tired anymore, which was actually the main issue. The sinuses were actually making my brain to be a little bit blurry, like the brain was not that oxygenated. So that also, like, would give me like stuff to put in my nose. That helped as well. But you know, like, the main issue was the fact that I was having all these symptoms because my eyes were so tired, actually. And so yes, it does help for it, and maybe over time my vision will get better with the glasses. But I went back like maybe like 2 weeks ago because I genuinely do not see 100%. So like I can read, but it takes me a second before having to read something. And they had to put UV light in my glasses because lights were also genuinely like affecting me, exactly how a migraine would affect someone, right? But it wasn't a migraine. Or maybe it was, but it was like hidden with all the fact that my eyes were so tired. People have like symptoms that generally like can generally confuse doctors a lot, especially the ones that only look through a textbook, the ones that are not open-minded. And it's so unfortunate, especially because I know for a fact that if I was a man, that neurologist would have never said that to me. He would have never said that to me. And honestly, very sexist, because the moment he saw that all my exams were normal, he went straight to telling me to do psychiatry. How normal do you think this is? It's not normal. Not normal at all. Like, how dare you to tell me this? Like, I wanted to tell him that, but at the same time I was like, is it really necessary? The only thing he's gonna do is get aggressive, and I don't want conflict. I just want to leave and do my own thing because I knew better than to listen to him. But it's just also to tell you that not all doctors are right. Doctors are human beings. A lot of them are going by the book. They're not open-minded, and a lot of them are straight up just telling you different responses depending on your gender. And it's not actually something that we see on social media. It is the truth, because I know for a fact that this neurologist would have sent me to see an eye doctor if I was a man. Yeah. And instead of telling me that I'm crazy, he could have said, okay, we're gonna find another solution. Maybe you need to go to another doctor. But he didn't. What he actually wanted me to do was to do a follow-up with him every 6 months, just to see if my symptoms get better or if my symptoms get worse. I'm sorry? What? He had given me a sheet to fill up every day with symptoms I was having. And you know, at first he would say, oh, that's such a great thing to do. Like, he's really trying to. No, he doesn't. Because when you actually analyze his response and then tells you to fill up every day columns with your symptoms, what you feel, what you have thought of, stuff like that, he's actually keeping you into these I am sick state, reinforcing the fact that it's actually psychological when it wasn't. It was actually physical because I couldn't see. But you know, he didn't think of that. And so the fact that he wanted me to do follow-ups every 6 months was also to keep me in this I am sick state. And for him to get money over it, to get a client over it. Because a lot of doctors actually do this, but let's not get into it. I really want to, but I don't think I should, but yeah. And that really disgusted me over the idea of even seeing doctors again. Like, if it's just like not a specialist, but like just a doctor, like you have I don't know, you like your throat is dry, or like you have a little bit of a sickness, that's fine, right? Like, I would go, they would give me something to take from the pharmacy. We don't care about that. But like going to see a specialist, and that specialist tells you this, it's ugly. Really, really, really ugly. So like, this is a story time just for people to be careful, and also just to tell you how I got my glasses, because it was a journey, and I don't think that journey should have been that long if people would have taken me seriously instead of thinking that I was crazy, because I wasn't. I actually had those symptoms, and this is the proof of it. Like let me tell you, like, when I take them off, I don't see well. When I put them on, I see better, and I have seen progress in my own tiredness. Sure, I have other issues in my life which can make me like tired over the days, but when it comes to my eyesight, it's so much better because of the glasses. Well, we should say thanks to the glasses. And so what he was actually trying to make me do would have just made me worse because I couldn't see. Like, that's crazy. But anyway, this is how I got my glasses. I'm really happy that finally we found an answer. I mean, we found an answer like about 2 months ago, but I'm really happy that it has generally helped me a lot, and that I'm actually sorry if a lot of people like went through this and actually had to do a follow-up with him, or if another doctor like had told you this kind of stuff, because like at some point you gotta have a wake-up call, especially if you feel doubt, especially if you feel like something's wrong. Then at that point you kind of have like to take a step back and be like, but does this doctor know what he's doing? Especially that what I've noticed is that sometimes like when they explain stuff to you, they explain it with like their definitions, like medical definitions, which you will not clearly understand, but he's doing that on purpose to confuse you. So when he says, oh, I'm gonna see you in 6 months, okay, you just say yes, because he's that doctor. He's right. Even though a lot of them give a lot of authorities, at the end of the day, it's your call if you want to see that doctor or not. If he's like pushing you to see him again, just say yes, go home, you call the secretary like 2 days later, and you cancel it. If he calls back and he's like, oh, I've noticed you've canceled it, like what's wrong? Just say that you're out of the country, just say that you're really busy at the moment and that you will reschedule. He's gonna say, oh, thank you, bye, and you never do again. That's like the best way to get rid of doctors, because a lot of them will actually call back and be like, what are you doing? I mean, this one didn't, but I'm just saying like some doctors do. And like you feel pressured, you know, like you're like, so yeah. Well, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching this video. I hope this was helpful for some people, and I hope that you liked the story time of me getting my glasses, even though like maybe you thought it would be a boring story, but you know, actually it was kind of educational maybe. And just be really careful of doctors, because a lot of them do it for the money. That's just what I'm gonna say. Maybe I will do a video about it, but if I feel like really brave about it, because I have a lot to expose on. But anyway, thank you so much. You can follow me on my Instagram, my TikTok, and also this YouTube channel if you liked it. And I have a lot of videos that you can watch as well, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.